Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good today. It's Brian. Just want to thank everybody for joining on and taking the time to, dive into some of the digital marketing that we have planned for the Car Group in 2016. What's trending? What's next? How Stream's keeping the Car Group out ahead of the curve? I know it's something that everybody's always asking. What's new? What's different? And as a partner, what are we doing to keep everybody rolling? That being said, I want to introduce the panel today. Of everybody who's talking so that we can go through it and just do a quick introduction on it. First off, we're going to be kicking it off with Amal. Some of you have met Amal or have talked to him on the phone before. He's our VP of Platform Marketing. He's going to be talking about omni-channel integration. Dave, who I know you've all met at some point or another, one of the founders, he's going to be talking about Streamcast and precision targeting and how we're going to be advancing the direct mail and the digital integration. Our lovely and handsome and always fun Bill Parliament, who's the VP of Digital Marketing, obviously going to be discussing search engine optimization and where that is going, the direction that's going, and some of the things that are changing that we're going to be doing to make sure that we continue to drive the organic traffic your direction. Sarah DeAndrea, who is going to be talking about lead scoring and marketing automation, which is one of the areas that we feel is going to be a way for us to jump out and stay ahead of a lot of people at come 2016 and beyond. Then Alex Giebel, handsome beard guy, he is in charge of digital marketing and web merchandising, and he's going to be talking about how we're going to continue to web merchandise the website as well as focus on conversion rate optimization. You'll hear that acronym CRO thrown out here a few times, so he'll be talking on that. Derek Pelham, who's Director of Paid Search Strategy, he'll be talking about paid search and the changes that have occurred with the engines and how we're adapting to it and adapting your accounts to it. And then finally, we'll be wrapping up with Nitin Kumar, who's Director of Digital Advertising Platform, and he's going to be talking about display advertising, the channels that we're using, and how we are going to, again, continue to keep you guys ahead of the curve heading into 2016. So that being said, I'm going to flip it over to Amal and let him jump in.
Hi everyone, this is Amal. I'm going to be talking about omni-channel integration, and omni-channel integration is really a great way to kind of frame some of the trends of 2016 that we're going to be talking about today. And omni-channel integration sounds like a lot of buzzwords, but really what it is, it's a philosophy, it's a way of thinking, and it's really kind of a north star to think about, hey, I have 100,000 different things going on in terms of marketing and advertising, and how am I bringing it all together in one cohesive way? So again, it was a bunch of buzzwords. What does it really mean at the end of the day? It's having a consistent sales approach in every single medium, in every single way that your customers are getting to know about you, are hearing about you, are eventually coming into your dealership. Having really consistent marketing and sales approach, which will lead to that consistent customer experience. So, today customers can reach you in so many different ways. Obviously, online is the biggest growth sector. Whether it's on desktop or mobile device, still, through telephone and more traditional systems, and also how people actually come into the dealership. And so there's a really good opportunity there to ask yourself. Sorry, go back to the slide. There's a really good opportunity to ask yourself, how different are these experiences in your dealership? And again, it's good to be honest with yourself that, hey, if someone only found out about us through a TV ad that we ran and called into the dealership, what is the messaging that they hear? What is that experience like versus someone who saw a retargeting ad online or a display ad and clicked through to our website, and what does that experience look like? Or just someone who on a Saturday decided that, hey, my neighbor told me about this great deal at the dealership, so I'm going to go walk into the dealership and just kind of see what's available, what options they have today. Again, what do those experiences look like? In the world of omni-channel integration and marketing, it's really thinking about, hey, I want to make sure that there's a consistent message across each one of those different paths to purchases. So, again, the digital side of that, which I think today is still a huge opportunity within the automotive space, is that how does that consistent user experience look on your computer, your desktop, your iPad or your tablet, and then your mobile device? And again, I think There's a huge opportunity still because those experiences are very different today in the automotive space, and it greatly changes how customers are able to consistently interact with your business and your brand. So, again, we talked a lot about some more philosophical stuff. How do you actually put this into practice? The way that you put it into practice is, really the #1 goal in 2016 is to have excellence, at every level. Excellence at every level is actually a philosophy that we really embrace here at Stream as well. Whether you're an account coordinator or you're a director of digital marketing or you're a VP of digital marketing, no matter what level you're at Stream, we exact excellence from it. And so we really want to kind of give you guys an insight into that and how you can take that same practice at your dealership and say, hey, how can we have an excellent customer experience from online, again, desktop, mobile, whether someone calls in or whether it's just someone cold walks into the dealership. And the key there, again, is obviously Stream as an integrated partner. We're doing a lot of that heavy lifting for you guys. We're making sure that we're working with all your vendors and doing a lot of the integration. But at the end of the day, you guys have the millions of vendors that you do, and so really only you have that total unified ability to keep pushing and building and pull together a unified experience with everyone that you're working with today. So, I mean, that's a lot to do, right? I mean, it sounds great from a top line, hey, make all of these things look very consistent and make sure they interact very consistently. So how do you really go about doing that? And the best way is obviously to start slow. The kind of the things that we recommend as the first exercise is thinking about the 5 most common paths to purchase, right? And almost do it as an exercise. It's going to take you about 20 minutes. Just write it on a piece of paper and write it as a story. What does that entire experience look like for your 4 or 5 key customer types? Whether it's a new college grad, a young married couple, or an elderly couple, whatever it might be. Those key experiences. Write it as a story, and then look at how you can make each one of those experiences as similar as possible. The other thing to mention is to secret shop your dealership. Now, this is something that's been around for a very, very long time, but very few people actually put it into practice. And often what we'll do, and we do it for our clients as well, we'll secret shop our clients, but it's really important to secret shop yourself because really, having that first-hand experience of what it's like for your customers is going to greatly influence how you run your dealership and how you work with your marketing partners. So the 3 pillars to remember, again, with omni-channel integration, we talked about a lot of things. If there's one takeaway that you're going to take from this, 3 things. One is that you have a ton of data. So you want to manage all of your data, understand how you can use that to better create a consistent experience. Number 2, you want to embrace new technology. Now, within the automotive space, it's very competitive. There's tons of new, fancy-looking things, and a lot of it ends up being recycled technology that's just being shown in a different way. So embrace new technology, but think about how it's actually increasing and adding utility to your current environment. And number 3, the best part about omnichannel integration is to make sure that you are actually integrating all the different services that you have and all the different experiences that customers can have with your dealership. So I'm going to kick it over to Dave, who's going to be talking about Streamcast Precision Targeting.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just to piggyback on what Amal said, in terms of using the data to the dealership's full advantage, that's what I'm going to talk about in terms of our precision targeting and how we can take the data that we have within our DMS and use it to our advantage to create custom audience segments to be able to precisely target in-market prospects, in-market customers, and increase revenue in our service drive. So the data really is our biggest asset. We have all that data that exists within our DMS, and we're able to look at that data through a data analysis and really deep dive into people that have purchased vehicles from the dealership and people that have serviced vehicles at the dealership. One thing we want to do is, first off, is make sure that the data that we have and the data that we are using is accurate. So we want to analyze all the records within the DMS. How many landline phones do we have? How many of them can we verify? How many of them can be updated? Same thing with cell phones and emails. how many people within our DMS have been deceased, because we want to make sure that we're getting all of them out. We're not mailing or emailing to people that have passed away. So it's very important that we clean up all that information. And then the most important piece of cleaning up the information in the DMS, and especially from a direct mail, email standpoint, is making sure that the vehicles are still with the owner that are in the DMS, and updating all the records that we can. So if Joe Smith no longer owns a 2008 Honda Civic, we certainly don't want to be doing an upgrade mailer or a vehicle-specific mailer to that customer. So by doing the data analysis, we're going to be able to, one, save time and money when marketing to them, but also having precision targeting with being able to market the right vehicle to the right person. And then the other thing we're able to do is follow the car. So if that same 2008 Honda Civic is still in your PMA, we're able to find out who the new owner is, and if we want to market them with a buyback mailer or something like that, we're able to do that. And then we're also able to look at vehicles that are sold but we don't know who the new contact is, again, making sure that we're not wasting dollars when we're sending out mail. Then we're also able to look at the specific customers within our data that are in the market. And we're able to break them down into 3 buckets. 1, extremely likely to be in market, 2, highly likely, and 3, likely. Again, this gives us a competitive advantage for not mailing to people that are not likely to be in the market. We can take that same data set and match up prospects in the market. And we can look at prospects in a couple different ways. We can look at the market as a whole with all people that are in the market to buy a car, and break that down by mile radius, by zip code, any way we want to look at that. And then we can break those in-market prospects down even further, where we can break them down by make. So if we want to conquest Nissan targets for our Honda or Toyota stores, we're able to look at those the same way in those buckets of extremely, highly, and likely to be in market. We can dive down in specific zip codes, or we can do radiuses. The other thing we want to be looking at is new movers. People that are just coming into the area, be the first to touch them, whether it's from a sales or service perspective. And one, with the existing tools that we already have with String, our Market Masters, and the data analysis that we use, we're really able to hone in on specific areas where we have opportunity. And we can use the data within String and the data analysis to make our direct mail and direct marketing efforts even more effective. And again, looking at that, when I use the Nissan example for Honda, if that's the number 1 or 2 brand in that area, that's definitely a prospect we want to go after from a conquest standpoint. So at the end of the day, we're not just talking about the traditional direct marketing. We're really talking about Streamcast, which Amal mentioned, that omni-channel approach. So regardless if we're sending out conquest mailers to prospects or to our current customer, the goal here is with Streamcast is to be able to target that same household with direct mail, with email blasts, with custom audiences within Facebook and Google. So we can take that same list of people that we're mailing to. We're not only going to hit them with a direct mail piece, we're also going to hit them with an email. We're also going to hit them with a display ad, traditional display and social display. And just as early as a month and a half ago, we can take that same list that we're mailing to and upload that into Google and do a custom audience, so we can set up a paid search campaign specifically for that audience. So that same message, whether it's a President's Day mailer or message or sale event or an upgrade event, we're able to hit that same audience through 5 different channels. And in many cases, we're going to be able to hit those customers through at least 4 of those channels with that same message. Now, from a segmentation standpoint, this is where we really can get targeted. We can look at customers that have serviced at the dealership but have never purchased from us, and we can segment a message just to them. We can look at people who have purchased but have never serviced with us and go after them from a service standpoint. We can segment our service mailers just from a loyalty standpoint, and then we can also look at those potential defectors from a service standpoint and message to them. And then from a conquest standpoint, we can look at those in-market prospects, same brand, so people driving the same brand as us but haven't serviced or bought from us, and we can look at those similar brands that we want to conquest. And then from a service standpoint, we would want to target those same brand people that have never serviced or bought from us. So the segmentation can get very, very, very defined, and we can create custom campaigns to go after any one of those segments and use that omni-channel approach through the 5 different communication methods that we mentioned. So quick overview of great things that's going on with precision targeting in 2016 and how we can use these strategies. And I know some of you guys have done 1 or 2 of these things, but really as this becomes more targeted, we're refining our process and getting even better results. So it's something that we're really excited about in 2016. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill, who's going to give a little update on SEO.
Thank you, Dave. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time with us today. We're very excited to present to you all the different things that are happening in digital in 2016 and beyond. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about search engine optimization. Of course, here at Stream Companies, we follow strict white hat tactics when it comes to SEO. We don't look to manipulate the search engines or do anything funny or automate anything for your search engine optimization. Again, search engine optimization, I'm talking about the things that you do to a web page or a website that increases your placement in the search results pages for the words and phrases that your customers are searching on a daily basis. And again, this is the opposite of paid search. This is the stuff where we show up in the search results page to the bottom and to the left of the search page. So if we go to the next slide, one of the things that I'd like to talk about quickly is why we do what we do. And I think in the world of search engine optimization, there's a lot of mystery, a lot of confusion, especially from folks who don't do this every day. So what I'm showing you here is a recent survey conducted by Moz.com. Moz is one of the leading authorities online in the space of search engine optimization and inbound marketing. And every year they conduct a survey of the top 150 SEO experts out there and basically get an understanding of the tactics and strategies that have the most influence on Google's algorithm. And we all know that Google's algorithm is a mathematical formula that allows Google to rank websites and web pages in a certain order. No one really knows what that recipe looks like. All that we know is that there are some best practices that we should follow. So something that I like to point out on this expert survey is the #1 and #2 top factors affecting Google's algorithm is domain level link features and page level link features, meaning how many backlinks or links from other sites are pointing back to your site. The third is page level keyword and content based features. Now, these factors are just for the national search engines. There's also a local search engine that I'll show you in a moment. But what I want to point out is the top 2 ranking factors are link level features. And I think link building, link attraction, off-page SEO is one of the most misunderstood factors in SEO. And a lot of times we're showing you guys the different links that we build, some of the things that we're doing off the site. But I think maybe you guys don't understand why we're doing this, or how does this help my business sell more cars? How does this help my SEO? Just want to show you that the #2 factors to influence Google's algorithm is that domain level and page level link feature, followed by the content. All of which you see, all of these things here, we do for you every day. And so if we go to the next slide, so that was for the national search engines. This is for the local search engine. So a lot of people don't realize that there are two different types of search engines. You need to optimize if you have a local business for the local search engine and the national search engine, and I'll show you why. But this is the same survey done to local SEO experts, and we can see that some of the biggest factors in the algorithm or why your site ranks higher in the local searches, your My Business signals, external location signals, on-page signals, your presence of your name, address, phone numbers, the keywords in your title and your domain. Again, we're looking at the top two on-page signals, your content, your name, address, phone number, consistency, and link signals. Again, we're talking about links, so that off-page comes into place. We're also seeing social signals come in here at around 5%. So all of these things are part of the recipe, and all of these things are done here for you at Stream Companies to help your search engine optimization work better for you. So I talked a little bit about the local search engines and the national search engines. Here's an example of what that might look like. So when we do a local search in the San Diego area, we can see that the top level, the 3-pack, used to be 7, now it's changed down to 3. That's the local search engine. So doing your citations and making sure that your name, address, phone number, consistency is on point, all factor into these local search engine rankings. And then, of course, we can see right below it the national results. So in this case, we're happy to see that we have a first place spot for Toyota San Diego in the local search result and first spot in the national. Doesn't always happen. Doesn't mean you can always get something in the local and in the national. Sometimes it's one or the other, but we do everything that we can to make sure that we're showing up in both search engines. So, you know, a little bit about how we do this. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of sweat of the brow, roll up your sleeves type of work. So you can see here that on your SEO campaigns, there's actually 5 people involved to make your SEO happen. So we have Sarah, who is the Director of Inbound and Content Marketing. We have your SEO team lead. You have a content strategist. You have your digital PR coordinator, and then you have your inbound marketing copywriter. So if we go to the next slide, we'll see that your Director of Inbound and Content Marketing and your SEO team lead, they're responsible for all the folks that do the day-in, day work on your website. So they're responsible for the strategy implementation, the planning, your results, analysis, and recommendations to the team and to you as well. Next slide shows that, again, it's a mix of that on-page and off-page strategy that really works. And what we want to show you is basically how we divvy this up. So you have a content strategist who works on your account. They work on all of those on-page factors that we saw in that expert survey just a little while ago. They're creating your content strategy. They're working on your technical SEO. They're doing your keyword research and your keyword analysis. They're looking at your website for additional ways to get conversions on your site. They're not actually doing testing, but what they're doing is looking at your pages and saying, how can we get more leads from this page by adding calls to action, things of that nature. And they're the folks that put together your reports and the results. Your digital PR coordinator, they're the ones that are responsible for all those links, the link building. And again, guys, link building, off-page optimization is the most understood aspect of search engine optimization, especially in the automotive space, because no one ever talks about it. No one ever talks about the importance of generating links from other sites back to your site, citations, and things of that nature. So your digital PR coordinator is in charge of all of that. And of course, you have an inbound copywriter who does all of the writing. So all of the strategy that's put together by these folks, it gets sent over to the inbound marketing copywriter who's assigned to your account. They know your account inside and out, and they're the ones that actually write the content and get it on the site. So one other quick mention is just some of the tools that we use from an SEO standpoint. If you're wondering the things that we use to come up with strategy to analyze your site, we use Moz. We talked about Moz a little bit. The expert survey, we do use their paid tool. We use BrightEdge, which is a high-level enterprise SEO tool. We use Screaming Frog that allows us to scan your website, find errors, find mistakes. We use String DPS to help us identify the areas in your DMA that we can optimize around, and we use another tool called Ahrefs, which allows us to peel back the curtains of the search engine, so to speak, and look at your backlinks, your competitors' backlinks, and so forth. So these are just some of the main tools that we use from an SEO optimization standpoint, some of the top tools in the business. So with all that being said, I just wanted to share with you a few examples of how we've implemented these strategies. Again, these strategies, not that we're saying, I mean, we know that they work, but from 150 other SEO experts, independent, this is the stuff that works. So the first thing that I want to lead with are links, the links that we're building for your site, because they are so important. Here's an example of a link that we achieved for Norm Reed's Acura. This is for Aliso Viejo Country Club. We wrote a piece of content basically ranking them as one of the best country clubs around Mission Viejo. Our team takes this content, pitches it to the website. They loved the article. They placed it on their website. You can see over here on the right here that they actually, we created a nice little graphical badge for them that they put on their site. This is a local business right around the Acura store, so it's great to get a link from these folks. And you can see here that it does generate some traffic from people seeing that link and getting eyeballs on your website. The next link is a link that, again, with another piece of content. Our content strategist and digital PR coordinator worked together to create a piece of content regarding New Year's Eve events around Huntington Beach. We were able to take this piece of content, share it with them. They loved it. They put it on their homepage, and in a very short amount of time, you can see how it started driving some traffic to the site. Again, these are people in the Huntington Beach area that are more than likely customers of Norm Reed's Huntington Beach Honda, and we'll get additional eyeballs on your website. So this is more of that digital PR play. The next example of a link that we created, this is a really cool story. This is a situation where a online magazine wrote a story including Norm Reed's Lincoln, and we have a tool that searches the internet for your dealership's name, address, phone number, any mentions of your dealership. We were able to find that this magazine wrote a story using Norm Reed's Lincoln, but did not link to our site. So what we did is we simply reached out to the magazine, thanked them for posting the article, and just asked if they could simply put a link from this story back to our website. They obviously agreed, and this is a very nice link when we can see that this website has a domain authority of 72. This page had a page authority of 68, and having all of that authority in that site, in that page, transferring some of that link juice from their site over to our site, again, all part of the big SEO picture. The next slide I want to talk a little bit about is our social shares. I think a lot of people struggle with this, like, how does this help my business? What is this all about? This doesn't make any sense. If you go back and look at the expert survey, there is some indication that social signals is a ranking factor in Google's algorithm. So here's an example where for Norm Reed's Ford, we wrote a piece of content talking about New Year's resolutions. Part of that content talked about eating healthy. So we wrote that content. We mentioned a local business called Herbie's Natural Foods. You can see here that we pitched this article to Herbie's Natural Foods. They put it right on their Facebook page, and as you can see, they got 305 likes on this page and 1 share and 4 comments. So here's a piece of content that we're creating for SEO that's on your site. We pitch to a local business in the area. They share this content on their Facebook page. We get 305 random likes, people that live in that area. We get people commenting and people sharing the content. Very cool way to get to go viral, to get links, and to get those social shares. The last example I want to show of a quick social share, this is a very cool story. This is for Norm Reeves on Port Charlotte Volkswagen social share. So we wrote a piece of content talking about the best fishing charters around Port Charlotte, Florida. The cool thing about this is we originally shared this with the Kingfisher Fleet Facebook page. They really loved the piece of content. They put it on their Facebook page, and it got so many shares on that Facebook page that the Fisherman's Village grabbed that content and shared it on their page. And if you look down to the bottom left, you'll see they got another 23 shares of this content with 4 comments. So we placed it on one social site. It went so viral that another similar social page found it, shared it on their page, and then those people liked it and shared it. So a very cool example of how we're taking this content and making it go viral and getting all those links and all of that social signal. So again, this is all part of the recipe, and hoping that you guys understand why we do what we do. We're also talked a little bit about your citations and your off-page, your name, address, phone number. Here's some examples of how we've been able to improve the consistency of some of your name, address, phone number, and your citation scores. You can see here, here's an example where we took Norm Reeves Hyundai from 77 up to 92. Another example is we took Norm Reeves West Covina from 50 over 90. So a really good win there where we're making sure everything's consistent, and we have so many local citations helping that local search engine optimization. And lastly, we have Norm Reeves Huntington Beach, where we took them from a score of 47 up over 91 in just a few short years. So I just wanted to show some examples of that off-page, and then I'll go through quickly some of the on-page examples. We know that this is all really important from an SEO standpoint. Here's an example of an article that we wrote on 2015 Ford Edge technology. We can see that visitors are viewing inventory pages after reading the technology review, and they're filling out form leads. We're placing additional calls to action on the page, so if this visitor arrives and they want to see the inventory or schedule a test drive, they're able to do that. And we can just see on the right through analytics how that page is really performing from an organic standpoint. The next one is, again, the vehicle comparisons. This content has been huge for us, drives a lot of traffic. You can see that many times these vehicle comparisons are the #1 organic landing page for this. Again, what we're trying to do is make your site the authority for your brand, and as well as local. So another example how we've used this on-page content to improve your search engine optimization. We can't forget service and fixed ops. We've had some very nice wins with our dashboard light guides. A lot of people are looking at this, getting into other pages, increasing page views substantially. In one case, we had scheduled service form submissions increased a little over 100% during December from these pages. So again, making sure that we're handling all the content, not just new used vehicles, but also your service. We mentioned String a little bit earlier. We use String to help us identify those local areas where we might be losing or there's opportunities. So the SEO team, along with the PPC team and the media team, does leverage String data to help optimize for your locations and your makes and models where there's opportunities. And then I believe last but not least is our SEO ebooks, where again, our #1 goal for you guys is to get more leads from your website, more opportunities to do business. Here's an example of one of our ebooks that we've created for Vince, and we created a hub page, and we've seen increase in page views. We've seen some downloads of these ebooks. So really what we're trying to do with this content is once we get people onto the content, we want to offer them something in exchange for name and email so that we can market to them. Really that's how we're going about SEO in today's day and age. I know I went a little over my time. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Sarah, and she's going to talk about lead scoring and marketing automation.
Thanks, Bill. Just to quickly mention before I get started, we will unmute everyone at the end of the conversation, so you guys can ask any questions or anything like that. So I'm Sarah, as Bill mentioned. I manage our inbound and SEO team here at Stream Companies. Something that we're launching this year that we've been working on over the last couple months or so is something called lead scoring and marketing automation. As you know from working with our digital team for quite some time now, you know that whether it's PPC, social, SEO, our #1 goal is to always drive conversions for your dealership. However, after working with numerous dealerships, secret shopping dealerships, as Amal had mentioned previously, we really started noticing that there was so much more opportunity to close that gap between marketing and sales, and not just deliver leads, but really make sure that we're assisting in the process of helping your sales team identify the highest quality leads, and maybe the leads that aren't really yet ready to buy, but could be marketed to or nurtured in some other way to keep them coming back to your dealership when they do get to that buying point. So at the end of the day, we want to help our dealerships and our clients make sure that their leads aren't falling through the cracks. And how are we doing that? And that's with lead scoring and marketing automation. So with lead scoring, the goal here is to really quickly identify whether they're coming through your website or through third-party lead resources, is truly identifying each individual contact and assigning some sort of number to them, so you can easily identify who's been browsing various websites, who's behaving like somebody who's very much ready to buy a car, and who are the people that really maybe just landed on 1 or 2 sites or viewing some content that's really just research oriented and can be marketed to at a later time, so you can really make sure your sales team is most efficient. Why are we doing this? Like I said, efficiency, so we can understand the positioning of each and every contact and deliver the right content to them at the right time. We also want to decrease the amount of leads that fall through the sales gap, but also decrease the amount of leads that maybe defer to a competitor if you're not speaking to them right at that moment. And like I mentioned, we want to uncover which third-party resources are truly delivering you the highest quality leads. So hand in hand with lead scoring comes marketing automation. So as I mentioned, yes, we have, we'll be scoring leads and delivering the highest quality leads to your sales team so they can jump on those leads right away and make sure they get a conversation started. But what happens to those other leads? How do we make sure they don't fall through the cracks? How do we make sure that they stay with your dealership and don't go to one of your competitors down the street? And that's with marketing automation. And where I think Stream is really head and shoulders above the competition with this is our capability to truly segment. So we're not just pulling all of your cold leads and dumping them into some lead nurturing program. We're really identifying various buckets of leads based on their buyer readiness and communicating with them in a way they want to be communicated to at that time. What's really cool about the marketing platform, marketing automation platform that we'll be using is it goes well beyond just an email nurturing campaign. We can do text messages and integrate actually a direct mail campaign. We can continue scoring these leads while they're in the automation so that your team will know if Sarah came in 6 months ago and she's been in your campaign for 9 months now, is she ready to buy? So we can actually deliver those leads who are nurtured over time and have increased their buyer readiness. So marketing automation with lead scoring is, again, where we are truly competitive. We can offer sales process efficiency, so we can really reawaken those cold leads. You don't have to dig through your database to follow up with leads. You'll know exactly who's ready to buy. And it automates your follow-up process. So if you guys are acting on your highest value leads right away, you don't have to worry about those leads who might just be in the research phase right now. You can rely on marketing automation to kind of push them through that process of getting ready to buy. Advanced targeting and segmentation. So we have lead scoring, and then how do we use that with marketing automation to make sure we're delivering the right message? And how can we build a more detailed customer profile of the lead over time? So if someone comes in and they're really just doing some high-level research, we can continue marketing to them, continue driving conversion. We can then track what they're doing on your site and really get a better understanding of where that lead is in the process or what content they're interested in, so we're making sure we're delivering that right message. We can also do campaign tracking. So part of what we're offering with marketing automation is continuous optimization. So it's, again, not just a set it and forget it type of service. We're looking at who's opening emails, who's reading the text messages, which direct mail campaigns were delivered, did they come back to a unique URL we set up. What's also interesting that we're testing out is doing something called smart content, which appears on your website. So it's almost like if you received an email and visited the website, a personalized message would appear just for that lead that's personalized from the salesperson to the recipient. So we're really closing that connection even though it's an automated process. And last, like I said, multiple touch points. So this really isn't just a digital effort. While a lot of it is email heavy and relying on your website to distribute those smart messages and smart content, we do have capabilities such as text messaging and direct mail, which is really something that we haven't seen anyone else in the industry doing just yet. So thank you again, and I'm going to pass this over to Alex, who's going to be going over what's new in 2016 with your web merchandising and CRO.
Thanks, Sarah. Hey guys, Alex Giebel, Director of Digital Marketing and Web Merchandising here at Stream. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those processes as well as touch on conversion rate optimization, which Brian Baker mentioned earlier. I really appreciate the granularity that Sarah and Bill, Dave, and Amal went into with some of their projects, and I'm just going to ask you to zoom out a little bit with me and start looking at a little bit of high-level different changes and trends that we see happening in the digital space. But first, just a quick breakdown. Web merchandising, really at the end of the day, it's finding ways to make sure that your sites convert at the highest level possible by making sure that any promotional messaging is in the most prominent areas, that we constantly have conversion points, and we're thinking of that path to purchase for the customer. Whereas conversion rate optimization is a different way to experiment with new strategies, explore different paths to purchase, new conversion points, new vendor integrations, and see how they perform in real time against a different layout or a different strategy. That said, heading into some of the trends for 2016, with consumers, we know that they're getting a lot more information. Every industry, obviously we work with a lot of auto and a lot of non-auto clients. Across the board, consumers have access to more information today than yesterday, and that'll continue. There's also a lot more distractions, a lot more clutter. There's different types of channel clutter that we really have to cut through across the board. And one of the things that we want to do with web in particular is make sure that that experience is rewarding to the customer. There's also more personalized experiences across the web, kind of how we're moving into omni-channel targeting and the precision targeting that Dave mentioned. We're seeing that across all industries. And so we want to make sure that we're playing along with those strategies and presenting the customer with experiences that really resound with them. We're also seeing that it's less time to take action. We're getting across the board less form submissions because it's an extra step for customers to do. They have to submit their information. So we really positioned a lot of our strategies to focus on different conversion points that are a lower level of effort for consumers so they can take that action on a whim and really get the ball rolling. We're also seeing less consistency across more devices. So as the battle for responsive and adaptive kind of wanes and responsive is really trumped everything everybody else is doing, we know that everybody who hasn't been doing responsive has to catch up because there's new devices every day. There's less consistency, especially in our auto platforms that we see as one of the big things that we look to champion internally. With businesses, there's new tech standards, constantly looking at different battles that are going on, very much like the responsive and adaptive, and we see which tech standards are really prevailing. Also, brand repositioning. There's a lot of shuffle, especially with compliance agencies as they ramp up different pivot strategies and ways to look at digital in a different light. We also see increased product prioritization from businesses pushing one service over the other, and so we want to make sure that we're aligned with those strategies in our merchandising efforts. We also see a lot of mergers, especially within auto, for vendors through mergers and acquisitions and other attribution paths. So we want to make sure that we're constantly looking for new tech. We're also seeing an increased level of competition because of those new mergers, acquisitions. There's new products, there's new technology being deployed on a lot of some of the older strategies. So really, what does that mean for us, and how do we capitalize on those emerging trends? Well, the biggest thing is setting consumer expectations. Gets back to that idea of making sure we have a defined path to purchase, that we're thinking about what the consumer expects when they get to our site, when they see our brand, when they go through these channels, when they look at the imagery of the website or the imagery on the direct mail piece. We want that to be cohesive. We want to have an overarching strategy, and we ultimately want that to play into the path to purchase so we can look at customers across different levels of the funnel. We also want to understand the consumer behavior. There's a ton of data out there online, especially in Google Analytics, a lot of the SEO tools that Bill mentioned, such as BrightEdge, Moz, and Ahrefs. We can see a lot of the consumer behaviors once they get online. We can then isolate those to different areas of the funnel, start creating those customer personas. As Amal mentioned, really looking at that path to purchase, how can we improve that and then direct the consumer to that conversion point. We're also looking for a lot more personalization. How can we target this consumer not only in the different channels that we're utilizing to communicate, the direct mail, the email, the paid search, but then also taking that to the website and providing a really personalized, tailored experience for that consumer. At the end of the day, it really is about providing that best experience, because in a world where the consumer controls exactly what they see on the screen, they can X out of anything they want, they can change websites, they can totally navigate away. It's up to us to really entice them to make that contact with the dealership. We find that it converts the best if we provide a good experience for the consumers through adding personality, working through strategic partnerships, doing conversion testing if we want to pivot a strategy or look at a new vendor, and then looking at experimental tech overall. How can we reach consumers through new devices, new technology, and new strategies? But that's basically, the overarching trends of web merchandising and conversion rate optimization. So I'm going to pass things over to Derek to talk about paid search.
Thanks, Alex. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Derek Pellman, Director of Paid Search Strategy. I just want to take this opportunity today to talk a little bit about where we see paid search going in 2016, what are the trends, what are the new features within search, and really how we can integrate them into our current search strategy. So to me, 2016 is really about how we win the micro moments consumers go through on their path to purchase a new or used car. What are those small moments within the shopper's consideration phase, and how we win them, not only in paid search, but really across all of our marketing channels. As shoppers start to search and consider which car to buy, we really need to understand what questions are important to them. I know it really sounds fundamental, but I feel like it's often overlooked. So, what are some of the winning or the micro moments that people are going through? It's which car is best moments, is it right for me moments, where should I buy it, can I afford it, am I getting the right deal? So what is micro moments? So micro moments is a team that you're going to probably see a lot more as digital continues to grow, and it really is just those critical touch points within today's consumer journey, and then the sum of them, when added together, they ultimately determine how that journey ends. So next slide. So we were able to leverage our preferred partnership with Google to really gain some insight into what types of things automotive shoppers were searching for in 2015. We view this as another value add to Stream's partnership, and hope to use this information to enhance our search strategy and stay ahead of the competition. So some of the trends that we're seeing here, for instance, trade-in value searches are up 20%. Really more interest now than the cash for clunkers craze, which is in 2009. Trunk space and towing capacity search interest increased 15% and 30% year over year. With reduced gas prices, it's led to an increase in luxury option searches. Just an example, panoramic roof searches and backup camera searches are up. And then also we're seeing some trends in different months. So for instance, February, we saw an increased searches for queries such as cars for sale under $20,000, $30,000. So these are the types of things that we're seeing people searching more, and we want to integrate those into our current strategy. So some other strategies here. Lease deal searches are peaking in summer over 20%. Car dealerships near me have nearly doubled. Mobile dealer searches from lots are up 46% year over year. Inventory searches were growing 4 times faster. Dealer phone number searches. 69% of car purchases were being influenced by YouTube reviews. So really the second biggest search engine right now is YouTube, and the more content that we create and we can leverage and is really going to make better. So Google really has pulled back on third-party YouTube inventory sellers recently. So what you're basically seeing is the only way you can buy YouTube inventory right now is through AdWords, and this really just launched this month actually in 2016. So there's a lot of talk within the search community that video will be a big part of paid search ads because of these changes. So just want to make everyone aware that don't be surprised if you see video ads starting to be a part of the search results in 2016 because of these changes. So given all this information, why is it really important? So search strategy really has got to evolve with consumer behavior patterns. So we can't really just rely on this year, make, model strategy that most advertisers use. We really have to understand what are the trends and how we integrate those trends into our overall search strategy. And the other thing is just the power of being present. We really need to be on the shelf to be considered, and we need to understand which types of queries are more valuable than others. Search should always provide relevant information at every stage of the buying cycle. So some of the things we can do, I know I kind of dumped a lot of data on you guys, so there's different things we can do based on some of these trends. So for instance, trade-in value search is up for 20% year over year. Just creating more targeted campaigns that reaches these traffics. Also, we can add additional site links. Trunk space and towing capacity, like I mentioned earlier, we're up year over year. We can start to highlight these through call-out extensions. Lease deals, we can use some bid modifications during certain seasons to capitalize on these increased search demand. Car dealers near me searches, just doing a better job at targeting these keywords. The next slide here is just really about the micro moments checklist. So this is really for you to kind of use as a point of reference. You want to be there, be useful, be quick, and connect the dots. And these are kind of a checklist that you guys can go through, that we go through, to really make sure that we're winning those moments for you guys. Next, I wanted to quickly touch on one of probably the biggest feature that's been added to AdWords within the past year. I know David touched on it a little bit earlier, but that's customer match. So really what this basically is now we can start to leverage first-party email lists and bid on them and retarget them either through search, we can retarget them through YouTube or Gmail promotion. So this is a really powerful tool. I mean, if you think about it, we could use this on a lot of different levels. So you could use it to suppress brand searches from people that we already know are existing customers. We could also create similar audiences. So if you guys send us an email list, Google can basically profile that list, and we can create lookalike audiences and then bid on them through search, through Gmail, through YouTube. And really, another big asset to it is cross-sell opportunities too. So there's a lot of different things that we can start to leverage. This really only came out of beta in September, but it's something that I feel like we should definitely integrate into our strategy moving into 2016. The other thing that you're really seeing is kind of the rise of conversational search. So now you're seeing that digital assistants are really being a part of everybody's daily life right now. So you have your Siri, Google Now, Cortana, I think is the one for MSN. And so the way people are searching is not only just typing in, but they're also using conversational search. So just getting a better understanding of what are those queries, what are people searching for. So for instance, what's the best car for families? What is the closest Ford dealer, etc. So all these types of things we have to consider as we add to our paid search strategy in 2016. And last thing I wanted to talk about, it seems to be a common theme that I'm noticing with a lot of dealerships, is they always bring up impression share. And I think, impression share, I think there's a lot of factors that really need to be considered when understanding impression share. So, for instance, has there been any changes in CPCs due to competition or strategy? Are we increasing impression share for a brand awareness play or really to drive more leads? So depending on what the strategy is, that's when we can kind of take into account impression share. It's not there to really sell cars, and it's a variable statistic, and there's a lot of things that go into it. So, I wouldn't rely on it too much in the future. It really is just showing a way of, how much more Google you can spend with Google, and it's not always the most important statistic. And really, it should only be considered for the top converting ad groups and campaigns. So if we realize that there are certain successful campaigns and ad groups that are working well for you and we have a low impression share, then obviously we want to funnel money towards that. And really, that's pretty much it for me on paid search. And now I will hand it over to Nitin, who's going to talk a little bit about display advertising.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon. I know we are kind of running late here in terms of our time, but really appreciate you guys sitting through the presentation today. And I am not going to take much of time. I just have 6 slides, I promise, and then probably just starting off with laying ground of what we are in terms of display, the real situation around the market. Display in general in 2016 is going to eclipse search ad spend for the first time since the advent of online advertising. So that's the real situation. It's a $32 billion worth of ads would be bought in 2016, which is 48% of the total ad spend this year. However, there are a couple of challenges associated as well, and the biggest challenge right now what we're seeing in 2016 is ad blocks. And I'm sure you must have come across the news of Apple introducing ad blockers to their iPhones and also the iOS in last quarter, and Google has already enforced strong ad blocking software on their ecosystem. So essentially, just to state some numbers, about 150 million ads on a monthly basis are getting blocked, and that's a huge challenge for all of us from a display and video standpoint. So how are we taking care of tackling this challenge? I think our biggest shift from 2015 to 2016 is an approach of programming your ad buying process and also trying to scale it across display and move it to cross platforms like social media, mobile, video, and TV in a cohesive ad buy manner. And this can be done also while ensuring that you're attributing most of these leads to the platform correctly. And a few ways how we are doing it at Stream is through our Boost Network programmatic display platform, which not only offers in display and video, but also has an in-app advertising search service. We also have Power Search dynamic display and search ads, which dynamically populate based on the machine learning experience of the ads. As in, if we know that a user is more inclined to mobile devices, we know that it has to be served a mobile ad and vice versa. And of course, there's a lot of attribution and data insights coming in 2016, especially with our partnerships with data management platforms and third-party data targets. Retargeting is again a big piece in display, which is again a kind of like an indispensable tool. There's no saying more than that. It's the absolute essence and essential of backbone of a display advertising standpoint. Just to give you some interesting insights by a Google study, about 70% of automotive shoppers which use a mobile device are likely to go to a different dealership, and about 52% of those visited a different dealership while just looking at the vehicle in front of them. So that's how important it is to kind of track the user on a mobile device as well, because again, as in mobile adoption is increasing day by day, about 70% of ad units served today are on mobile device. Just yesterday, Facebook announced their quarterly earnings, and 80% of Facebook's ad revenue is coming from mobile. So yeah, the essence of 2016 here is to leverage retargeting not only to email, direct mail, and desktop, but also progress it to social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, mobile devices. Another interesting way how people are tackling the ad block experience is by investing heavily in the native experience. So native is essentially a cohesive advertising platform or experience which kind of seamlessly blends in with the form and function of the publisher site. Essentially, users seeing this ad would typically not know that this is an ad, but just because of the rich experience and the overall content quality, it yields higher engagement. There is a study being conducted by Yahoo and Millward Brown Digital, one of the authorities on the display standpoint, and they have seen a 3.6 lift as compared to traditional displays for native, with average time per ad being about 3 times compared to a normal display ad. Rounding up with our growing vertical in video, I think that theme for 2016 is to look beyond YouTube. As Derek had mentioned, Google has already started cutting down on third-party resellers. You can only buy YouTube through Google platform itself. So essentially, that opens up the opportunity to start leveraging Comscore 100 publisher sites. We already have partnerships with about top 50 sites out there where you can go beyond YouTube to serve your pre-roll ads. We have more than 6 to 7 ad formats. It's just not about the standard pre-roll or the engage to skip pre-roll. You can start leveraging about 6 different in-stream ad units and about 12 different in-display ad units. And the whole essence and the story here is that video is your new showroom, and then you can keep on banking upon those micro moments in terms of presenting different aspects of your dealership, different features of the car, and probably also walkthroughs of new models through video experiences. Another thing which is just fresh in the market, a new technology called BrandLift. This is being introduced by Google on the YouTube platform. This is just about collecting user info and trying to use that data to further enhance your message delivery and also to enhance user targeting. I'm not sure if you have already started seeing this, but slowly and gradually you will start seeing these surveys pop up before and after the video plays, and then all of these surveys can tie back to your analytics data and also into rich reports, which gives you a detailed insight into what users are engaging with. The next slide is just an example of the Burberry platform in which how they use the Lightbox ads and the surveys to see an overall lift not only in their organic search traffic but also in their SEM results as well. And then finally, closing the presentation here with social, and I think the 2016 theme here is that Facebook is just the tip of the iceberg. We are seeing more and more people adopt new platforms out there, and it's simply because of the fact that these platforms, so-called social media platforms, are currently world's largest mobile ad platforms. We have more than 40-minute per day average engagement by the average US consumer on a social media platform, with Facebook leading the front over there. And it's just not about brand engagement, but because most of the studies, what we are seeing here, this one being by eMarketer themselves, they say that paid advertising on social media is delivering a solid ROI, and that's simply because of the fact that Facebook is the most sophisticated targeting platform. And in Pinterest, for example, the e-commerce connect is already present. There are a lot of widgets and apps which can be leveraged for the auto industry as well. And just because of the visual experience, you can always bank upon the purchase intent whenever you see an ad click. And the only emerging theme left apart from Facebook here is the up and rising platforms of Snapchat and Instagram, which we feel at Stream that are great for brand awareness and engagement purposes. And yeah, and then with that, I think we might squeeze